Welcome back to beautiful Cincinnati, Ohio. Today we are not only riding the connector, we are also exploring the connector and its yard. We are here where we started last time, Fountain Square, but this time we are with the New Jersey Railfan. The two travel partners reunited again. He hasn't rode connector yet, so let's do this. Here comes our first ride of the day, but before it comes, let's take a look at what we're doing. The train currently arriving will take us up north for most of the ride, but we'll eventually arrive on Findlay Market, but this station is on Elm Street. Then we cut through Findlay Market to take a detour to Liberty and Race, and that's where we're going to look at the yard and where the extensions will be. And then we arrive at R&Off Center. Just like most light rails, we have a push to stop button. After we crossed over Interstate 71 and 75, we're taking a turn for our first stop, the Banks. We have some time until the next stop, so how about we talk about what's on the consist today. What we're riding on today includes 3 CAF Urbos 3. Here are 3 fun facts about the Cincinnati connector. Number 1, the connector is electrified with overhead wires called 750 EDC. Number 2, nearly 100 years later after the closing of the Cincinnati subways, the connector, opened on September 9th, 2016, was actually the replacement, and it's a rival with the Metro buses. Number 3, the Cincinnati connector actually recently got new electric horns, which we'll get to those later. But for now, let's just enjoy the rest of the ride until Findlay Market. Also, if you've heard of Brightline before, then you would probably know that their windows have these little dots all over them. Well, same with the connector, but there's actually a little gap at the bottom, but that's not the same for all connector services. Speaking of that, there were 3 active services when one was in the yard. I'm guessing these windows open for passengers that are hot and need fresh air on board. So on the drive to Cincinnati from Lexington, I actually brought my tripod, but I forgot to bring it on the actual ride of the connector, so this footage is going to be a little more shaky than usual. The connector, formerly called the Cincinnati Belt Connector, actually plans on getting future extensions in the near future. The ETA on the extensions towards the Over-the-Rhine neighborhood is nowhere near getting planned, but the tracks are already there, so hopefully I can ride on them in the near future. We're back at the quote-unquote RFW. Since I used the quote-unquote RFW a lot in the last Cincinnati connector video, and I didn't really use it that much this video. Arriving at Liberty and Elm, which means that our next stop after this is ours. In between Liberty and Elm and Findlay Market, here's the yard that we're going to explore later, and let's press the push to stop button. Here we are at Findlay Market and Elm, and we're getting off now to walk to the yard. We say goodbye to our first out of the 2 trains that we're going to take today. I'm just gonna continue up north for only one more stop. market. While explaining the route, I mentioned a detour that we took, and this is the detour. You just cut right in the middle of Finlay Market. Here are the extensions that I talked about earlier in the video. These are going to go up to Uptown near the Over the Rhine neighborhood. Wait, hold on. We'll get back to the video in a minute, but for now, go ahead and follow my TikTok at All American Railfan 4. And if you're enjoying this video, then go ahead and like and subscribe for more videos like this. Alright, back to the trains we go. One more left turn and we are at the yard. This is the main building where they build the connectors and also paint the connectors. And there's the fourth connector. This one's not in service. We looked inside one of the windows on the main building, and this window actually showed the interior of where they build and paint the connectors. There's also spare parts for one or two reasons. One, they're building another connector, or they're just spare parts. The train now approaching is the second out of 3 services that we'll see today. And this one is actually getting a crew change as we speak. This is not going to be the one that we are getting on because we weren't going to make it to the next station. But here is the train that will take us to station number 17, Aronoff Center. Stupid of me to stand this close because the connector almost scraped my elbow. Gotta stand behind the line next time. So we've officially seen all 3 services available today. And this service apparently doesn't have any gaps in the dotted lines. Take a look. Now if I put the camera up to the window, this is what it actually looks like. And I think you guys would prefer this. Kinda. Both ways are really kinda bad. You probably recognize that from one of my past rides.
Collingwood.
The connector averages just over 1 million passengers per year. That's crazy. Due to the cost and lack of distance, the project faced opposition on several occasions after being first proposed in 2007. Challenges included ballot initiatives to stop the project in 2009 and 2011. Opposition from members of Cincinnati City Council, Governor John Kasich, and Mayor John Cranley, elected in 2013. However, both of the anti-rail ballot initiatives were rejected by voters, and a pro-streetcar majority was elected to City Council in 2011, allowing the project to move forward. And here we are today, riding connector, but not anymore. Approaching the end of the video, so now it's time to rate the connector for cleanliness, timeliness, and visibility. Cleanliness will start us off. The floor was pretty dirty and it was kind of filled with scraps towards the middle. So cleanliness gets a 7 out of 10. Now we have timeliness. So the connector has signs at each station said there would be a next train 12 to 15 minutes. But when we waited at Liberty and Race, we waited for about 20 minutes until the train arrived. So I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. Lastly is visibility. Now there's obviously advertisements on the outside, so there's going to be little dots on the inside for the visibility. But on one train there was actually a gap, but that was not the same for the second. So for visibility it's going to be a 7.5. So overall the Cincinnati connector is going to be an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next week.